Modern open-world games aren't just digital playgrounds anymore. They have evolved into something far more significant. They're worlds built to overwhelm your senses, steal your attention, and make you forget that your real life needs things like sleep, hydration, and responsibilities. We have moved past the era of simply looking at a screen. We are now stepping through it. Today we're looking at 10 open-world games so visually stunning that players still argue about whether the screenshots are real. We are talking about titles where the line between concept art and in-game footage has been completely erased. Every one of these games takes atmosphere, art direction, and technical detail to an extreme, and each pushes the entire medium forward in its own way. Whether it is through the use of revolutionary lighting engines, photogrammetry, or sheer artistic willpower, these games have set the bar. So settle in, because these 10 worlds don't just look good. They feel alive, they breathe. And once you enter them, you might find it very difficult to leave. Hi, I'm Joe from Pixel Pix, and at first we are looking at Assassin's Creed Unity might have launched with enough bugs to qualify as a horror game, and for a long time, that reputation overshadowed its brilliance. But visually, now that the dust has settled and the patches have been applied, it continues to stand as one of the most beautiful historical recreations ever put into a title. Paris in Unity looks like it's been lifted straight out of a museum painting. It captures the grimy, opulent, and chaotic atmosphere of the French Revolution with a level of fidelity that is frankly startling. The rooftops stretch endlessly, creating a complex, jagged horizon of chimneys and spires. The alleys twist in detailed patterns, cluttered with the debris of a society on the brink of collapse, and the landmarks rise with impossible accuracy. Ubisoft didn't just build a city, they rebuilt history brick by brick. The streets are packed with life. We aren't talking about a few dozen NPCs wandering around aimlessly. We are talking about thousands. Crowds fill every corner, shouting, protesting, and living their lives. Smoke drifts through the air from burning effigies, and the light scatters across old stone in a way that almost feels too advanced for the hardware it originally released on. The global illumination system used here creates soft, realistic shadows that ground every character in the scene. The attention to detail became so impressive that when the Notre Dame Cathedral suffered real-world damage in that tragic fire, this game's digital recreation was famously viewed as a potential reference material for the reconstruction. That is the level of architectural precision we are dealing with. Every street, balcony, and shadow feels like it has a story to tell. You can see the peeling paint on the window frames. You can see the texture of the velvet on the coats of the aristocracy versus the rags of the peasantry. It's the kind of world where you can stand still, do absolutely nothing, and still feel completely transported to the late 18th century. And the craziest part, Unity is nearly a decade old, yet it still competes visually with games released today. It stands as a testament to baked lighting and high-density asset management. Before we move on to the next world, I have a small favor to ask. If you are enjoying this visual tour so far, please take a second to hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow and lets me know you want to see more content like this. Done. Awesome. Now let's leave Paris and head into the future. But Unity isn't the only title that turned a full city into a living work of art. The next world takes nature, machinery, and color and mixes them into something unforgettable. Horizon Zero Dawn doesn't just look good. It hits you with landscapes so vibrant and dramatic that they stay etched into your memory long after you put the controller down. Guerrilla Games took a massive risk moving from grim first-person shooters to a vibrant open-world RPG. And that risk paid off in one of the most visually distinct games of the generation. The world blends ancient ruins, mechanical beasts, and untouched wilderness into something that feels both beautiful and dangerous. It is a post-apocalyptic setting where nature has reclaimed the steel and concrete of the old world. You see skyscrapers that have become mountains, covered in moss and trees, creating a hauntingly beautiful skyline. Every biome tells its own story. Deserts shift from gold to deep red with sand that reacts to your footsteps. Snowy mountains glow under moonlight, with deformation technology that allows Alloy to carve paths through deep drifts. Dense forests sway with mechanical soundscapes, where the rustling of leaves might be a badger, or it might be a watcher waiting to strike. Quiet lakes reflect sunsets like paintings, using screen space reflections to mirror the vibrant sky above. The art direction strikes this perfect balance between realism and fantasy. It is hyper-realistic in its textures, but stylized in its color palette. Even in the middle of combat, you can't ignore how cinematic everything looks. Sparks fly from metal plating when you strike a machine. Lenses flare as the robotic eyes search for you. Machines shimmer in the distance, their neon lights cutting through the fog. Dust glows around Aloy's silhouette during golden hour, creating frames that look like promotional artwork. The weather rolls in suddenly and changes the entire mood of the world. One moment you are hunting in clear sunlight, and the next, a heavy torrential rain obscures your vision, forcing you to rely on sound and the faint glow of the machine's components. Horizon Zero Dawn proves that beauty doesn't need to be peaceful. Sometimes it's the collision between harshness and wonder that makes an open world feel alive. It creates a visual language that is entirely its own. But if Horizon blends nature and machine, the next game turns nature itself into a storytelling device. Ghost of Tsushima is art disguised as a samurai game. Sucker Punch Productions decided that a heads-up display or UI was a barrier between the player and the world, so they stripped it away. It uses color, wind, and lighting to guide your attention instead of UI markers. The world feels like a moving painting. It draws heavy inspiration from classic samurai cinema, specifically the works of Akira Kurosawa. Golden fields wave like oceans, reacting to the wind that physically guides you to your objective. Red leaves rain down during combat, creating a stark contrast against the gray steel of your katana and the blood of your enemies. Fog rolls across valleys, clinging to the ground in a way that feels heavy and damp. And sunsets soak entire landscapes in warm tones, turning the screen into a wash of orange, purple, and deep indigo. It isn't just beautiful, it's emotionally charged. The open world reflects the themes of honor, conflict, and tradition. You don't simply travel across Tsushima, you absorb it. You compose haikus by serene lakes. You follow golden birds to hidden hot springs. Every hillside, shrine, and forest feels handcrafted to express mood. The game uses a technique with its particle effects where thousands of leaves, petals, or embers are on screen at once, swirling around the player, making the air itself feel thick with motion. And then there's the weather system. Storms whip across the island during intense story moments, reflecting the protagonist's inner turmoil. The thunder crashes in sync with the drama. Calm breezes sweep in when things quiet down, allowing you to appreciate the sway of the pampas grass. Everything responds to your journey in subtle ways. Ghost of Tsushima set a new standard for stylized realism. It proved that you don't need photorealism to create immersion, you need artistic cohesion. But the next world takes an entirely different approach. It doesn't chase realism, instead it aims for wonder. Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom prove that graphical beauty isn't just about resolution or photorealism. In an industry obsessed with 4K textures and ray tracing, Nintendo went in a different direction. Sometimes it's about the atmosphere. Sometimes it's about the feeling a place gives you. Hyrule in these games is soft, dreamy, and filled with a quiet magic. It utilizes a cel-shaded art style that mimics plein air painting, emphasizing light and airiness. Rolling hills stretch endlessly, inviting you to run simply for the joy of movement. Mountains glow with pastel skies at dawn, and gentle village lights warm the night, creating pockets of safety in a vast wilderness. The world rewards curiosity. Every ridge, river, and forest hints at secrets waiting to be found. If you see a strangely shaped rock or a ring of lilies in a pond, you know the designers placed it there for you. It's a visual language of discovery. Tears of the Kingdom expands that world both above and below. Sky Islands float with surreal stillness, bathed in golden light and ancient architecture that contrasts sharply with the green earth below. While the depths are pitch-black caverns lit only by strange bioluminescent lights and the terrifying glow of gloom. This creates a vertical triptych of visuals: the heavenly sky, the grounded earth, and the hellish underworld. Together, these layers create a world unlike anything else in gaming. Nintendo didn't chase hyperreal detail, they chased mood, and they nailed it. They created a physics engine that interacts with the visuals. Fire burns grass, lightning strikes metal, wind carries gliders. It makes the world feel tactile. But now we move from soft fantasy to pure magic brought to life with meticulous detail. Hogwarts Legacy delivers exactly what fans hoped for. A castle so detailed, so warm, and so alive that exploring it feels like stepping into a dream you've had since childhood. The developers didn't just build a set, they built a contiguous, functioning castle. Every corridor hides secrets. Every staircase shifts unexpectedly. Every common room glows with personality, from the cozy earth-toned den of Hufflepuff to the sleek, underwater ambience of Slytherin. The sheer density of clutter, books, potions, paintings that move, makes the space feel incredibly occupied and ancient. The changing seasons transform the world completely. This is one of the game's strongest visual features. Winter blankets the school in quiet white, with snow piling up on the turrets and students donning scarves. The Great Hall is decked out in festive decorations. Autumn fills the grounds with orange leaves and wind, giving the Scottish Highlands a melancholic beauty. Spring brightens every corner with color, bringing the flora of the magical world to life. It's not just pretty, it feels lived in. Walk through Hogsmeade at night and the lanterns reflect off cobblestones while distant laughter floats through the air. You can see the steam rising from butterbeer mugs. Step into the Great Hall and the floating candles cast shadows that react to your movement, flickering against the enchanted ceiling that mirrors the sky outside. The particle effects during combat, the sparks, the distinct colors of spells like Incendio or Avada Kedavra, light up the environment dynamically. It's nostalgia and adventure wrapped into one place. It successfully translates the whimsy of the source material into a 3D space you can actually touch. But beauty doesn't always come from magic. Sometimes it comes from collapse. The Division series turns ruined cities into hauntingly gorgeous environments. Ubisoft's massive Snowdrop engine is the star of the show here, capable of rendering lighting and weather effects that are incredibly grounded in reality. The first game creates a snow-covered New York City drowning in silence. It is a visual masterpiece of isolation. Empty streets, breath hanging in the air, Christmas lights glowing through haze, and abandoned cars buried in frost. The way the light diffuses through the snowstorms is technically staggering. It's eerie but stunning. You walk past piles of garbage bags that glisten with ice and see the remnants of a panic that happened weeks ago. It captures the specific biting cold of a New York winter perfectly. The second game shifts to Washington, D.C., replacing snow with heat, vegetation, and heavy sunlight. It swaps the cold blues for humid oranges and greens. Dust swirls through collapsed buildings. Nature is beginning to take back the capital. Birds scatter from statues. Water drips through broken ceilings and forgotten museums, creating puddles that reflect the stagnant world around them. Both worlds blend realism with environmental storytelling. This is the key to the Division's visuals. Every street feels like it belongs to a world that ended yesterday. You find echoes of the past, a suitcase left on a bench, a car door left open. It creates a narrative without saying a word. And yet, amidst the tragedy, it's beautiful. The global illumination bounces light off distinct surfaces, making plastic look like plastic and concrete look like concrete. From grounded realism, we shift into a world where beauty hits you at 200 kilometers per hour. Forza Horizon 5 delivers one of the most breathtaking open worlds ever created for a racing game. Usually racing games focus purely on the cars, but playground games focus just as hard on the world those cars inhabit. They utilize photogrammetry, scanning real-world objects and textures, to recreate Mexico with startling fidelity. Mexico's landscapes explode with color. This isn't a sepia-toned filter. This is vibrant, diverse geography. Sunlight hits jungles with thick humidity, piercing through the canopy and God rays that blind you as you drift around a corner. Deserts shimmer with heat, distorting the air above the asphalt. Beaches stretch endlessly under bright skies, with white sand that kicks up realistically under your tires. Even the storms look incredible, with massive dust walls that swallow the map whole. Drive up the volcano at dawn and you'll see the sky blaze with color. You can see for miles, literally. The draw distance is enormous, allowing you to see the curvature of the earth and the distant storms brewing in other biomes. Drift along the coastal roads at night and the lights dance across your windshield. The reflection of neon festival lights on wet pavement after a rainstorm is a tech demo in itself. Rainstorms hit suddenly and transform the entire mood of the world. The roads become slick, changing not just the handling, but the way light interacts with the surface. The droplets stream across the car body based on your speed. Everything feels alive, energetic, and full of motion. It's a celebration of speed and scenery. It proves that a car game can have better landscape photography than most RPGs. But now we slow down again, stepping into a fantasy world crafted with care and soul. The Witcher 3 was already iconic when it launched in 2015. Setting the bar for open-world RPGs. But the next-gen update elevated its world into something extraordinary, bringing it in line with modern standards. Sunsets spill across the fields of Velen, casting long, dramatic shadows. The addition of ray-traced global illumination transformed the flat lighting of the original into a rich, deep atmosphere. Skellide's cliffs rise dramatically above stormy seas, with waves that crash with renewed ferocity and foam physics. Novigrad glows with warm lights and street chatter, the cobblestones looking wetter and more textured than ever before. Every region has its own personality. Swamps in the bog feel oppressive and damp, the fog hangs low, and the water looks murky and dangerous. Forests feel mysterious and ancient, with trees that sway heavily in the wind, a trademark of The Witcher's atmosphere. Farmlands feel peaceful but lived in, with improved vegetation density making the fields look lush and overgrown. The lighting upgrade makes everything richer and more atmospheric. Interior lighting in particular is vastly improved. Walking into a tavern feels warm and smoky, while stepping into a cave feels genuinely dark and claustrophobic. The textures on the monsters, the grime on Geralt's armor, and the blood on his swords all received a massive boost. The Witcher 3 isn't chasing realism for the sake of realism, it's chasing emotion. It wants you to feel the weary sadness of this war-torn world, and it succeeds. It manages to look like a dark fairy tale come to life. But beauty doesn't always need warmth. Sometimes it's cold, harsh, and brutally authentic. Red Dead Redemption 2's open world is the closest gaming has ever got to capturing the real wilderness. Rockstar Games didn't just make a map, they simulated an ecosystem. The level of detail here borders on the obsessive. Morning fog crawls through fields as the sun rises, diffusing the light through the trees in a way that looks like a National Geographic documentary. Snow crunches under horses, leaving deep trails that persist. Rain darkens clothing gradually, not all at once, but soaking through the fabric layer by layer. Animals behave like actual wildlife. Possums play dead, bears bluff charge, and eagles snatch fish from the rivers. Rivers roar with believable force. The water physics are intricate, with currents that pull at your horse and mud that accumulates on your boots. If you fall in the mud, it dries and flakes off over time. The world breathes. Birds scatter when gunfire erupts. Thunderstorms roll across the plains with terrifying power. You can see the lightning strike in the distance and count the seconds until the thunder rolls in. Even the simple act of riding through the countryside feels cinematic without trying. The cinematic camera mode allows you to put the controller down and watch your journey as if it were a Western film. The lighting, particularly at camp at night, is masterful. Firelight flickers on the faces of the gang members, creating deep contrasts that highlight the incredible facial capture technology. Every frame could sit in an art gallery. Every location feels handcrafted, from the busy industrial streets of St. Denis with its smog and brick, to the quiet, snowy silence of the Grizzlies. It's one of the most immersive worlds ever built because it refuses to feel like a video game. It demands you slow down and live in it. And yet, the final world on this list manages to outshine everything through sheer imagination. Elden Ring takes the scale of an open world and infuses it with dark fantasy spectacle. From Software took the tight, intricate level design of Dark Souls and stretched it across a massive canvas without losing any of the detail. Every biome feels mythic. The golden glow of the Erd Tree dominates the sky, visible from almost everywhere on the map. It serves as a constant, glowing anchor in a world of chaos. Limgrave mixes gentle fields with roaming knights and ancient ruins that look like they have been there for thousands of years. Caelid looks like a land infected by nightmares. The sky is a bruised red, the ground is rot-infested fungus, and the creatures are twisted abominations. It is horrifying, but you cannot look away. Then you find the underground. The underground cities, like the Siofra River, shimmer with star-filled ceilings that shouldn't exist beneath the earth. It is a moment of pure visual shock that defines the game. The world is haunting, surreal, and massive. Mountains tower over giant ruins. Swamps glow with toxic red light. Castles crumble at impossible scales, their architecture telling stories of dragons and wars long past. Every new region feels like discovering the remains of a forgotten civilization. The art direction prioritizes striking silhouettes and color theory over raw polygon counts, resulting in visuals that look like heavy metal album covers come to life. From Software didn't just create an open world, they created a legend. They proved that a world doesn't need to be realistic to be immersive, it just needs to be consistent in its vision. These 10 games prove that open worlds aren't just about size or technology. They aren't just about how many square miles the map covers or how many fetch quests you can cram into a journal. They're about emotion, atmosphere, and unforgettable visual identity. Some worlds are calm, asking us to sit by a river and listen to the water. Others are violent, demanding we fight for every inch of ground. Some lean into realism, trying to mirror our own world. Others embrace fantasy, showing us things we could never dream of on our own. But each one leaves a mark that stays with players long after the credits roll. The future of open worlds is only getting bigger, stranger, and more beautiful. With Unreal Engine 5, path tracing, and AI-assisted generation on the horizon, we're on the precipice of a new era. And if these games are anything to go by, we're heading toward a generation where digital worlds may end up looking better than reality itself. Thanks for watching Pixel Pix. If you enjoyed this journey through the most beautiful worlds in gaming, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more. Let me know in the comments, which game world would you want to live in and which one would you avoid at all costs? I'll see you in the next one.